Dear subscribers and guests, this is a draft video of a wonderful speech about what would I do if I lose all my money. Okay, we're gonna start with a poem. It's a poem about I wish you, I pray that you fall into the яму. И в этой яме ты разбалишься на мелкие кусочки, и потом тебе надо будет собирать на эти кусочки, собираешь, не соберешь, и потом ты еще и глубокую, еще глубже яму. And in that poem it says that you will be there alone, completely alone, and that's how you're gonna bring yourself back together out of all those pieces. And that is something I disagree with. How are you gonna put yourself back together if you fell into all those pieces? I do not know how in the world you could put yourself together, but I know the real answer. You need love. Come on, we all know that. They say it in books and in poems, but that is true. Just trust me, it's true. I have the sun on my window and it tells me, yes, you need love, you need love. Okay, story. We continue with the story. So, I was falling apart at one point of my life, but before I completely fell apart, I met David. And I met him on a meditation app called Inside Timer. Yes, do meditate. And yes, I realize I'm just telling all the creepy guys to go on the meditation app. Well, they could use some meditating time. It'll be good for the entire planet. So we're good. So I met David on meditation app. And then we start talking, and we saw each other. PG-13, we're keeping this PG-13. And then we just fell in love, like for reals. And that's difficult to describe. I'm not gonna try. That's not what the speech is about. It's about falling down. And so before we fell completely in love, I was leaving my current job at the time. And that was the first point of me falling apart, kind of like on the floor with a bottle of wine. And I would be still maybe lying on this floor with that bottle of wine because I was just I just love this organization. Yeah, let's just say I love Toastmasters and I tried so hard and I was so positive It's like, oh my gosh, how positive could this woman be? And then I was like, I'm leaving. Period. Because that was the best thing I could do. But it broke my heart. And so this is the last day at Toastmasters and my account gets shut down because I worked the last day till 6 until it gets shut down. And I was like, and I was just listening to the song. It's time to say goodbye. The universe gave me the perfect song. And then I was like, I'm gonna have some wine. And I was just so down. And David, I could have been still down and all the little pieces would be still falling apart. And then David, he calls me once and he calls me twice and he just laughs with me. He's like, okay, you're on the floor. That's fun. And he picks me up. And I'm kind of okay, but I'm still a mess. And then I'm a mess and I'm raising butterflies and I'm doing this and that. And I'm kind of looking for a job, but more I want to work where I know everyone and I know it's kind of safe. Don't even ask. And then so we're meeting each other. We talk with each other so much and he teaches me to listen because I talk so much and I talk and he listens to me, but sometimes he's shut up. And I love this man because he could say shut up. And I'm thank you because it's time. Okay, let's make it shorter. And then I come to visit him and he lives 4 hours away from me, so I have to drive and I drive. And then we meet his friend who's a financial advisor. And so this financial advisor tells, do you need financial advice? David tells me. And I was yeah, I have most of my savings and most of my retirement in cash, and it's like Merrill Edge, doesn't matter what company, but it's in cash. And then he was like, okay, Jeremy, we're not gonna call names, but is a great financial advisor. It's like, okay. And he's like, okay, do you want to do this? I will not even charge you a fee. I was like, no, you can charge me a fee. Like, no, you're a friend of David. And just to note, David is OBGYN doctor. And so like, everybody loves him and like, lucky me. Different story, and yes. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, let's do this financial analysis. And then like I go back to my home like 4 hours away, and I'm like sending my tax return to his office, and like I'm on the phone with this woman, and she's like, I have your social security from your tax returns you just emailed us, but what is your driver's license number? And what's your daughter's social security number? And I was like, shoot. I've never been to this financial advisor office. I met David online. It wasn't a dating app, it was a meditation app, but I met him online. And I thought like, what if I'm gonna lose all my money? I just gave everything I had, and I'm like, they're saying like, we're gonna transfer all of your retirement money, all your savings to this one combined account. And I was like, what if I lose all my money? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like, you've fallen even deeper. That's like deep, right? And then I was like, well, that's kind of tough. But what if that's true and that's all of it is a scam? Then David is a scammer. So this man I absolutely love, then he's not for real? But then if he's for real, and I would say like, I think you're a scammer, he'd be like, well, I don't think you're the woman I want to date. And that's my dilemma, like all my money, and maybe losing all my money and David, or just trusting the universe and saying like, okay, I'm just gonna go with this because I cannot even comprehend losing you. I'd rather lose all my money. And then I was like, oh, this is tough, and then I cried, and at that point I actually didn't tell him. So I kind of scraped myself off the floor myself, and like, oh. But then I was like, okay, you might lose all your money. Ha! And you're not employed. Ha! Like, you might even lose your house. I'm like, no, I love my house. It has a red fireplace, and it has a view and butterflies. Like, no, I'm not losing my house. And I'm not losing anything else. I was like, what am I going to do if, like, theoretically, what am I going to do? What's the worst case scenario? That's when you're like, oh, this is so crappy. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, I lose all my money and I lose the man I love. What am I going to do? And I thought about it, and I said, I'm going to get a job. Because I'm very smart, and I'm kind of like scared of going back to corporate jobs, but if I have to, I can go and get a job. And I could totally do that. And that's how I started to look for a job. I'm still looking, so I'm not really like completely out of this pit. But I started YouTube channel and butterfly website and yes to dream website, and I really hope I'll start manufactured home project with Sherry, because that's the best project we have, and all of it is great, but the most important thing, I'm like in love with the best man in the world. And that's why I also started a book selling business. You could see all the books, because I'm gonna sell all my books, most of them, and then everything else, maybe, if needed, maybe not. And I'm gonna travel around the world, maybe not, maybe at least like I'll have a flexible enough hours that I could just take a month and go somewhere to Saipan and just spend it with David. And then he's like, okay, that's a lot of you. And I'll be like, yes, I'm gonna go back, and then I'm gonna do some programming, and then I'll come back, and we'll travel to New Zealand, and we'll travel, but then I'll program, and that's my dream. And then, as part of this, it's not just like me and love, that's important, and it's the top, but then I do, and I love myself. That's why I like love me, like here, and then I'm gonna help others. And I could tell you what would happen if you lose all your money. And you're like, I don't have love. Well, open your heart. How? Well, go meditate. Like, totally, that worked for me. Yeah, it did. And when I go like nuts and like this whole Fibonacci, I can't even tell you. But I could say like, there are times I just want to meditate. I was like, oh, I cannot deal with this anymore. This is just too much. I'm like, I just want to meditate. And that's my message to you. That love, meditation, self-love, meditation, and work hard. But work for things you are passionate about. Like passionate.